So you're writing code and you need to handle a bunch of stuff, a collection of data. In Python, picking the right tool for that job is a total game changer. It makes your code cleaner, faster, and way safer. Today, we're going to build out your essential Python toolbox for exactly that. Let's get into it. You know the feeling? You've got a bunch of usernames, or a series of temperature readings, or maybe a to-do list. How do you actually hold on to all that information in a way that makes sense? Well, that's exactly the problem we're going to solve right now. All right, first up in our toolbox is the one you'll probably use the most, the list. Seriously, think of this as the adjustable wrench of your programming kit. It's flexible, it's reliable, and it's pretty much the go-to solution for a ton of different problems. So what is a list, really? Well, the definition gives us three key things to remember. First, it's ordered. That means it keeps your items in the exact sequence you put them in. Super important. Second, it's changeable, so you can mess with it after you create it. And third, it allows duplicates. You can have the same item in there 5 times if you want, no problem. And making one is about as easy as it gets. You just wrap your items in square brackets. Remember, Python starts counting from 0. So Alice is at index 0, Bob is at 1, and Charlie is at 2. And that order, it's locked in. Now, this right here shows off that changeable superpower. Because lists are what we call mutable, we can just target an item by its index, in this case, index 1, and assign a brand new value. We're telling Python, hey, go find what's at position 1 and replace it with Brecht. And there you have it, proof right there on the screen. Our original list has been changed right in place. Bob is out, Brecht is in. That flexibility is what makes the list so incredibly useful. And that flexibility doesn't stop there. Lists are meant to grow and shrink. You can easily tack an item onto the end using .append, or maybe you need to squeeze something into a specific spot with .insert. And of course, you can shrink it down, either by taking the last item off with .pop, or by hunting down a specific value and getting rid of it with .remove. They're totally dynamic. But what if you have a different kind of problem? Let's say you're collecting user tags or maybe product IDs, and having duplicates isn't just messy, it's actually wrong. For a job like that, you need a more specialized tool. So say hello to the set. Now, a set is totally different from a list in 2 major ways. First, it's unordered. That means it gives you 0 guarantees about the sequence of its items. And second, this is its whole reason for existing. It only stores unique items. And this is where the magic of sets really shines. Look at this example. We try to create a set with a whole bunch of duplicate numbers. The set just looks at that, says nope, and automatically gets rid of all the extras. What you're left with is a perfectly clean collection of unique values. It does all the hard work of deduping for you. So when do you pull this tool out of the toolbox? Well, you use a set when uniqueness is non-negotiable, when you couldn't care less about the order, and, this one's a huge performance tip, when you need to check really, really fast if something is in your collection. Sets are built for that, hey, is this item in here question. Okay. So we have a flexible tool for ordered data, and we have a specialized tool for unique data. But what about data that needs to be permanent? Data that once you set it, you want to protect from any accidental changes down the line. And for that job, we have the tuple. You make it with round parentheses, and just like a list, it's ordered. But here's the critical difference. It's unchangeable. The technical term is immutable. Honestly, the best way to think about it is as a read-only list. Once you make it, its contents are set in stone. This makes tuples perfect for data that represents a single fixed idea. I mean, think about it. A screen resolution of 1920 by 1080 is one cohesive thing. You wouldn't want some bug in your code to accidentally change just the width, right? A tuple protects that integrity. Other great examples are things like GPS coordinates or fixed RGB color values. And Python takes this rule very seriously. If you create a tuple, like this point 37, and then you try to change one of its elements, bam! Python just stops you dead in your tracks with a type error. It's screaming at you, hey, this object does not support item assignment. And you know what? That's not a bug. That's a feature. It's protecting you from yourself. You know, this whole difference between things you can change and things you can't, it's one of the most important ideas in all of Python. It's called mutability, and it's the core concept that really separates these different tools. It's actually a pretty simple idea. Mutable just means it can be mutated or changed after it's created. Immutable means it can't. So lists and sets are our mutable tools. We can add, remove, and change items all we want. Tuples, on the other hand, are immutable. And surprise, so are regular old strings. This little table breaks it all down perfectly. See? Lists and sets are on the yes, you can change me side. And over on the nope, I'm fixed side, we have tuples and strings. You can't change a single character in a string any more than you can change an item in a tuple. Anytime you think you're changing a string, you're actually creating a whole new one. All right, so we've met the main tools. We get the core idea of mutability that controls how they work. So how do we put all this together to make the right choice every single time we code? Let's build a super simple decision guide. This right here is your ultimate cheat sheet. When you're about to store some data, just run down the list of questions. Do you need to keep things in a specific order? If so, that rules out a set right away. Do you need to prevent duplicates at all costs? Well, that points you straight to a set. And do you need to make sure this data can never, ever be changed? That's a job for a tuple. And to make it even easier, just follow this three-step process. First question you should always ask is, do I need to prevent changes? If the answer is yes, just stop there, use a tuple. If no, move to the next question. Do I need to guarantee unique items? If that's a yes, use a set. And if the answer to both of those questions is no, then your flexible, all-purpose go-to tool is always going to be the list. So here's the real takeaway from all of this. This isn't just about memorizing the difference between square brackets, curly braces, and parentheses. It's about writing code with intent. When you choose to use a tuple, you're sending a clear signal to the next person who reads your code, which, let's be honest, is probably you in 6 months, that this data is not meant to be changed. It makes your code safer and a whole lot easier to understand. And that's it. You now have the 3 most important tools for managing collections of data in your Python toolbox. You know their strengths, you know their weaknesses, and now you know exactly when to reach for each one. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with them?